The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the fields of New Haven Colony when Daniel Cotter noticed something wrong. The usual sounds of children playing near the schoolhouse had gone silent. He dropped his tools and started running toward the building. His heart pounding in his chest, other parents were already gathering, their faces pale with fear. Linda Morrison, the colony's chief security officer, stood near the entrance with her weapon drawn. "They took them," she said, her voice shaking. "Who took them?" Daniel asked, though he already knew the answer would destroy him. "Aliens," Linda replied. "Some kind of slavers. They came in fast, stunned our guards, and grabbed the children. 23 kids total." Daniel felt the world spin around him. His son Kevin was 8 years old. His daughter Sophie had just turned 6. They had been in that schoolhouse minutes ago. Safe and happy, now they were gone, the other parents began shouting, demanding answers, demanding action. Linda raised her hand for silence. "I have already sent distress signals to Earth and every human settlement within range," she said. "Help is coming. But we need to stay calm, gather information." One of the teachers, a young woman named Claire Hudson, stepped forward. She had blood on her temple from where she had been struck. "They move so fast," Claire said. "Their technology just shut down our defenses like they were nothing." The leader, he was tall with gray skin and black eyes. He spoke to us in perfect English, said the children would bring good prices on the market. Daniel felt rage building inside him like nothing he had ever experienced. These creatures had taken his babies. They had invaded his peaceful colony and stolen the most precious things in his life. What else did he say? Linda asked Claire. He laughed. Claire said, tears streaming down her face. He said if we tried to follow, they would destroy us. Said their shields and weapons were too advanced for humans to challenge. Then he said something strange. What? Daniel demanded. He said we should just accept our loss and move on. Claire continued that in the grand scheme of the galaxy, 23 children meant nothing. The gathered parents erupted in fury. Linda fired her weapon into the air to restore order. Listen to me, she shouted. This Vareth captain, or whatever he is, just made the biggest mistake of his miserable life. He does not know humans. He does not know what we do when someone threatens our families. Daniel looked at Linda and saw the same cold determination he felt in his own heart. Earth will respond. Linda continued, and when they do, these Vareth will learn what it means to provoke humanity. The colony spent the next hours in organized chaos. Every detail of the attack was documented. Every sensor reading was sent to Earth. The parents of the missing children gathered in the community hall, holding each other, crying, praying. Daniel sat with his wife Margaret, who had been working in the medical center during the attack. They held hands in silence, both too devastated for words. Their children were out there somewhere, scared and alone. The thought was unbearable as night fell. Linda received the first response from Earth. She read it aloud to the assembled colonists. Message received. The transmission said, full military response authorized. Admiral Gregory Hayes is mobilizing the defense fleet. Hold position and maintain all surveillance. We are coming. Every child will be recovered. This is Earth's promise. The words brought some comfort, but not enough. Daniel knew that space was vast. The Vareth ship could be anywhere by now. How could Earth possibly find them in time? But he also knew something about his species. Humans did not give up. Humans did not abandon their own. And humans definitely did not forgive those who harmed their children. 2 days passed with agonizing slowness. The colony maintained constant watch, hoping against hope that the Vareth might return. They did not. But other ships did arrive. Human military vessels began appearing in orbit around. New Haven Marines landed and established a defensive perimeter. Intelligence officers interviewed every witness multiple times. Daniel volunteered for everything. He helped the technical teams analyze the sensor data, worked with linguists To understand the brief Vareth communications, he barely slept. Barely ate. Margaret finally forced him to rest. "You will be no good to Kevin and Sophie if you collapse," she said. "The military is doing everything possible." "I know," Daniel replied, "but I need to do something. I cannot just sit here while our babies are out there." On the third day, Admiral Gregory Hayes himself arrived at New Haven. He was a tall man with gray hair and hard eyes. He gathered all the parents in the community hall. "I want you to understand something," Hayes said. "This is not just a rescue mission. This is not just about your children, though they are our absolute priority. This is about sending a message to every species in this galaxy. Humans are peaceful. We prefer trade and diplomacy. We have always sought cooperation over conflict. But there is a line that must never be crossed. These Vareth crossed that line." Hayes paused and looked at each parent in turn. "I promise you this," he continued. "We will find your children. We will bring them home. And we will make certain that no one ever dares to do this again. I do not care how far we have to travel. I do not care what it costs. I do not care who we have to go through. Your children are coming home." Daniel felt something break loose inside him for the first time since the attack. He felt hope, not just hope, but certainty. This admiral meant every word. The full might of Earth was being unleashed. Daniel stood up. "Admiral," he said, "I want to come with you. I need to be there when you find them." Hayes studied him for a long moment. "Are you prepared for what that might mean?" The admiral asked. "Are you prepared to see what we may have to do?" "Yes, yes," Daniel said without hesitation. "Whatever it takes," Hayes nodded slowly. "Then you will join my intelligence team," he said. "Your knowledge of your children may prove valuable. But understand this, Mr. Carter. Once we leave this colony, there is no turning back. We are going into dark places. We will do dark things if necessary. Can you live with that?" Daniel thought of Kevin's smile. He thought of Sophie's laugh. He thought of them scared and alone on some alien ship. "I can live with anything if it brings them home," he said. The fleet departed New Haven the following morning. 15 warships, hundreds of support vessels, thousands of personnel, all dedicated to one mission: find the children, destroy those who took them as the colony disappeared behind them. Daniel stood in the observation deck of the flagship. Linda Morrison stood beside him. She had also volunteered for the mission. "They have no idea what is coming for them," Linda said quietly. "No," Daniel agreed. "They think we are just another weak species. They think we will negotiate or give up. They are about to learn the truth about humanity. We will burn worlds if we have to. Whatever it takes to bring our children home." Behind them, the vast fleet aligned for the jump to faster-than-light speed. The hunt had begun. The Earth Defense Fleet moved through space like a massive predator hunting its prey. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the flagship EFS Retribution, studying the tactical displays. Captain Nicole Sherman worked at the intelligence station, coordinating data from hundreds of sources. "We have confirmed the Vareth trajectory," she reported. "They jumped toward the outer reaches, likely heading for known smuggling routes." Hayes nodded. "How many potential destinations?" 17 major trading posts and hidden facilities, Nicole replied. "But we can narrow it down." The Vareth ship took damage during their hasty departure from New Haven. They will need to stop for repairs within the next 48 hours. Lieutenant Peter Brooks, the tactical officer, highlighted 3 locations on the main display. "These are the most likely stops," he said. "All 3 have repair facilities and are known Vareth-friendly zones." Daniel Carter watched from his position near the intelligence station. He had been given limited access to the bridge as a civilian observer. The military efficiency impressed him, but it also frightened him. These people were preparing for war. "Admiral, we are receiving a transmission," the communications officer announced. "It is from a Vareth trading post in the Delta sector. They claim to have no knowledge of the kidnapping. Hayes turned to Nicole. Is that one of our target locations? Yes, sir. She confirmed. It is the closest repair facility on their likely route. Open a channel. Hayes ordered. The screen flickered to show a Vareth merchant, his gray skin darker than Zelker's, his black eyes shifty and nervous. Human vessel, the alien said. I assure you, we conduct legitimate business only. We know nothing of stolen children. Hayes stepped closer to the screen. I am going to ask you one question, he said, and your life depends on your answer. Did a Vareth ship commanded by Captain Zelker stop at your facility in the last 72 hours? The merchant hesitated. That hesitation told Hayes everything he needed to know. Destroy it. Hayes said calmly, Admiral? One of his officers questioned. You heard me, Hayes replied. Arm all weapons. Target the trading post. But sir, there may be innocent civilians. Hayes cut him off. There are 23 innocent children somewhere. In this galaxy, every second we waste is another second they remain in captivity. This merchant chose to protect slavers. He made his choice. Now he lives with the consequences. Fire. The Retribution's weapons blazed across space. The trading posts. Shields held for exactly 4 seconds before collapsing. The structure broke apart in a brilliant explosion before the final destruction. Nicole's team managed to extract data from the station's computers. Got it, she said. Zelker's ship was there 18 hours ago. They took on supplies and departed for the Khazar system. The merchant logged the transaction but marked it as confidential. Hayes turned back to the empty space where the trading post had been. Not confidential enough, he said. Set course for the Khazar system. Maximum speed. Word of the trading post destruction spread through the criminal networks faster than light, Vareth. Merchants and smugglers began sending frantic messages to each other. The humans were not negotiating. They were not following the usual rules of engagement. They were simply destroying anything connected to the kidnapping in a dark bar on a lawless asteroid. A group of pirates watched the news feeds. The humans are insane, one of them muttered. They destroyed an entire facility for not giving them information. An older pirate, a scarred veteran of many conflicts, shook his head. Not insane, he said, determined. There is a difference. What do you mean? I fought humans once. The old pirate said, long before most of you were born. It was a small border dispute, nothing serious. But I learned something that day. Humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy when you threaten what they love. How so? Most species fight for territory or resources. The veteran explained. They calculate risks and benefits. They know when to retreat. But humans? When you threaten their families, they stop calculating. They become something else entirely. They will sacrifice everything to protect their own. The younger pirates laughed nervously. That is just a story. No. The old pirate said it is a warning. And if you are smart, you will stay far away from anything involving those kidnapped children. Meanwhile, the human fleet arrived at the Khazar system. Intelligence had identified a large slave processing center. On the third moon was a major hub for the illegal trade. Protected by defensive platforms and shields, hundreds of ships orbited the facility, most of them neutral traders who had no involvement in slavery. Hayes broadcast a message on all frequencies. This is Admiral Gregory Hayes of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have 5 minutes to evacuate this sector. After that, everything within weapons range becomes a combat zone. We are here for one purpose only. Anyone who interferes will be considered hostile. This is your only warning. Chaos erupted around the facility. Ships began launching immediately, fleeing in every direction. Some captains protested, claiming they had legal business at the station. Hayes ignored them all. Exactly 5 minutes later, the human fleet opened fire. The defensive platforms were eliminated in the first devastating volvo, the facility's shields, which had protected it for decades. collapsed under the sustained bombardment Marines launched from assault ships. Heading for the structure, Daniel Carter watched from the Retribution's bridge. Could the children be there? He asked Nicole. Possibly, she admitted. Our intelligence suggests this is a major waypoint for the Vareth network. Even if they are not there now, someone inside will know where they went. The Marines breached the facility with brutal efficiency. They swept through corridors, securing each section. Resistance was minimal. Most of the guards surrendered immediately when they saw human soldiers. Marines were not interested in prisoners. They were interested in information in the facility's main computer core. Technicians extracted every byte of data. They found records of thousands of transactions. Species bought and sold like property. Children, adults, entire families. It was sickening, but buried in the data, they found what they needed. 3 human children had passed through the facility exactly 43 hours earlier. They had been logged as premium acquisitions and transferred to a transport heading deeper into the Futuristic reaches. The records included the names Kevin Carter and Sophie Carter Daniels. Legs nearly gave out when he heard the news his children had been here. They had been treated like cargo, but they were alive. That was what mattered. Where did the transport go? Hayes demanded. A hidden shipyard in the reaches. Nicole reported. Coordinates are encrypted, but we can break it. How long? 2 hours, maybe 3. You have 1 hour, Hayes said while the technicians worked. The Marines completed their sweep of the facility. They found holding cells filled with captives from a dozen different species. All of them were freed and given transport to safety. Then, Hayes gave an order that shocked even his own crew. Plant charges throughout the facility. He said, "We are destroying it completely." "Sir, this facility is worth billions," an officer protested. "It could be valuable evidence." "I do not care about evidence," Hayes replied. "I care about sending a message. Everyone who profits from slavery needs to understand what happens when you cross humanity. This facility ends today." The charges were set. The human fleet withdrew to safe distance. The explosion was visible from orbit. A brilliant flash that reduced the entire structure to atoms across the galaxy. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Ambassador Krell, representing the Saurian Collective, stood before the assembly. "The humans have gone too far," one council member declared. "They are destroying facilities without proper authorization. They are ignoring galactic law." Krell raised his clawed hand for silence. "The humans are recovering their stolen children," he said. "Perhaps if this council had taken slavery seriously decades ago, they would not feel the need for such extreme measures." "That is beside the point," another member argued. "We must stop them before this escalates. I volunteer to contact them." Krell said, "I have worked with humans before. They are reasonable beings. Perhaps I can negotiate a peaceful resolution." The council agreed. Krell departed immediately, his ship racing to intercept the human fleet. He had no idea that he was about to receive an education in what happened when humanity's children were threatened on the Retribution. Nicole Sherman finally cracked the encryption. "I have it," she announced. "The coordinates of the Vareth shipyard. It is deep in the reaches, in a system with 3 dead stars." "How long to get there?" Hayes asked. "At maximum speed, 36 hours. Then we leave now," Hayes ordered. "All ships, prepare to jump." As the fleet aligned for the jump to faster than light speed, a new contact appeared on sensors. "Unknown vessel approaching," Peter Brooks reported. "They are broadcasting diplomatic credentials. It is Ambassador Krell of the Saurian Collective. He requests permission to speak with you." Admiral Hayes considered for a moment. "Put him through." Krell's reptilian face appeared on the screen. "Admiral Hayes," he said with a respectful nod. "I come as a representative of the Galactic Council. We wish to help resolve this situation peacefully." "There is no situation to resolve," Hayes replied. "We are recovering our children. That is all. I understand your anger. Krell continued, but your actions are causing concern throughout the galaxy. We can work together through official channels. We can coordinate with bounty hunters and law enforcement. Ambassador. Hayes interrupted. I appreciate your concern. Ambassador Krell watched the human fleet jump too, faster than light speed with a sinking feeling in his stomach he had never seen such. Single-minded determination. The Admiral had not even pretended to consider diplomacy. He returned to the Galactic Council with a troubling report. They will not stop, he told the assembled representatives. Admiral Hayes made it clear that nothing will deter them from recovering those children. Then we must force them to stop, declared council member from the Zhan Empire. We cannot allow one species to rampage through the galaxy unchecked. A younger representative stood up. She was from the Finari, a mammalian species with large eyes and soft fur. Before we condemn the humans, she said, let me ask a question to this council. How many of your species would do less if it were your children? The chamber fell silent. My people suffered under slavers 2 generations ago. She continued, we begged this council for help. You sent investigators. You held meetings. You passed resolutions. And while you debated, our children died in chains. The humans are not debating. They are acting. Perhaps we should learn from them instead of condemning them. The council remained divided, but no military action was authorized against humanity. Meanwhile, the human fleet raced toward the coordinates Nicole Sherman had extracted inside the Retribution. Daniel Carter barely slept. He spent his time in the intelligence center, reviewing every piece of information about the Vareth. Linda Morrison joined him during the quiet hours. How are you holding up? She asked. I keep thinking about them. Daniel admitted. Kevin is probably trying to stay strong for Sophie. He always protected her when they played together. And Sophie, she gets scared of the dark. Are they in the dark right now? Are they crying? Linda put a hand on his shoulder. They are strong kids, she said. They will survive until we get there. I know, Daniel said, but I also know what this is doing to them. The fear, the confusion. They must think we abandoned them. They know better than that. Linda replied, Kevin is smart. He knows his father would never stop looking. On the bridge, Captain Nicole Sherman monitored communications from across the galaxy. The news of the destroyed trading post and processing facility had spread rapidly. Criminal networks were in chaos. Admiral, we are intercepting multiple Vareth communications, she reported. They are warning each other about us. Some are going into hiding. Good, Hayes replied. Fear is a useful weapon. We are also receiving messages from other species. Nicole continued. Some are offering information about Vareth operations. They want to help. Hayes considered this. Verify everything, he ordered. Some may be genuine, but others might be trying to lead us into traps. Accept all information, but trust nothing until confirmed. The fleet emerged from faster-than-light speed near a dense nebula. Sensors immediately detected multiple contacts. Admiral, we are reading at least 20 ships in this sector, Peter Brooks reported. Most are small craft, probably pirates and smugglers. There is also a larger structure. Appears to be some kind of station. Is it the Vareth shipyard? Hayes asked. Negative, sir. Peter replied. This is different from our target coordinates, but it is directly on the route to where we are going. Aha. Communication came in from the station. Human vessels. This is Haven Station. A gravelly voice announced. We are a neutral facility. We offer no threat. Hayes studied the tactical display. The station was old, but heavily armed. Surrounding ships were positioning themselves defensively. They are afraid of us. Nicole observed. They should be. Hayes said he opened a channel. Haven Station. This is Admiral Hayes. We are searching for a Vareth vessel carrying kidnapped human children. Any information you provide will be rewarded. Any obstruction will be met with force. There was a long pause finally. The station responded. The Vareth ship you seek passed through here 6 days ago. The voice said. Captain Zelker attempted to sell the children here. We refused. We do not trade in sentient younglings. Especially not human ones. Why not? Hayes asked. Because we are criminals. Not monsters. The voice replied. And because we heard what you did to the trading post in Delta Sector. We want no part of your hunt. Did Zelker say where he was going? Deeper into the reaches. The voice answered. He seemed desperate. Said no one would buy the children because everyone fears human retribution. He was trying to find buyers in the uncharted regions. Hayes considered this information. If you are telling the truth, you have nothing to fear from us, he said. If you are lying, I will return and reduce your station to debris. Do you understand? Perfectly, the voice replied. The fleet continued on its course. Daniel felt a strange mix of hope and dread. The fact that no one would buy the children was good news. It meant they were still together. Still with Zelker, but it also meant Zelker was getting desperate. Desperate people did desperate things 2 hours later. The fleet detected a distress signal. It was faint and badly damaged. But it was broadcasting in human standard code. It is coming from a small ship. Nicole reported. Appears to be a civilian transport. Life signs? 3. Very weak. Hayes ordered a rescue team dispatched immediately. The transport was recovered and brought aboard. The retribution inside were 3 human adults. Barely alive, they had been escaped slaves from a Vareth facility. Medical teams rushed them to the infirmary. Daniel accompanied them, hoping they might have information. One of them, a woman named Patricia Wells, regained consciousness after treatment. The children, she whispered when she saw Daniel. You are looking for the children? Yes, Daniel said urgently. Do you know anything? I saw them, Patricia said, on the processing station before it was destroyed. 2 days before you attacked it. A boy and a girl. They matched the descriptions being broadcast. How were they? Daniel asked, his voice breaking. The boy was brave, Patricia replied. He was protecting the girl and the other children. He organized them, kept them calm, told them stories. The girl sang songs, even in that horrible place. She tried to keep the younger ones from crying. Daniel felt tears streaming down his face. That was Kevin and Sophie. Even in the darkness, they were being themselves. They are strong children, Patricia said. They will survive. Thank you, Daniel managed to say after Patricia was stable. She provided more information to the intelligence team she had overheard. Vareth guards discussing Zelkers. Problems. No one wanted to buy human children anymore. The entire galaxy had seen what happened when humans were provoked. Silkor was heading to a hidden shipyard in the reaches. He planned to modify his ship for a journey into unexplored space there. He hoped to find buyers who had not heard of humanity's response. Nicole cross-referenced this with the coordinates they had extracted. It matches. She confirmed. The shipyard is exactly where she described. We are 30 hours away at current speed. Hayes made a decision. Push the engines to maximum, he ordered. I do not care about safety margins. Those children have been captive for too long. We end this now. The fleet accelerated beyond recommended limits. Engineers worked frantically to keep the system stable. Some ships fell behind. Unable to maintain the punishing pace, Hayes did not slow down. Retribution and the fastest vessels raced ahead in the intelligence center. Daniel helped the team plan the assault. The shipyard will be defended, Nicole warned. Our scans show at least a dozen Vareth warships in the area. They know we are coming. Good, Daniel said. Everyone looked at him in surprise. Let them know we are coming, he continued. Let them prepare. Let them gather their strongest ships and best warriors. It will not matter. We are taking our children home. Linda Morrison smiled grimly. That is the spirit, she said. Fleet dropped out of faster than light. Speed at the edge of the target system sensors immediately lit up with contacts. The Verith had indeed gathered a battle group 12. Warships surrounded the hidden shipyard. The facility itself was built into a massive asteroid, bristling with weapons. They are hailing us, the communications officer reported. Put it through. Hayes ordered. A Verith commander appeared on screen. He was larger than Zelker, with scars across his gray face. Human fleet. He growled. You have come far enough. The children are aboard Captain Zelker's vessel. If you attack, we will execute them. Leave now, or they die. Hayes stared at the Verith commander with cold fury. You have made mistake, he said quietly. You think those children are your leverage, but you have given me clarity. I know exactly where they are, and now I know exactly what I need to destroy to get to them. You will not attack, the Verith commander said. You cannot risk the children's lives. Hayes smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You clearly do not understand humans, he said. We are excellent at calculated risks. I calculate that you will not kill those children, because the moment you do, you lose your only protection, and then nothing in this universe will save you from what we will do. The Verith commander hesitated. That hesitation told Hayes everything. All ships, Hayes announced. Prepare for combat. We are going in. Target priority is Zelker's vessel. Disable. Do not destroy. Everything else is expendable. The fleet charged forward. The Verith battle group moved to intercept space. Erupted in fire and fury. The battle for the children had begun. Daniel Carter stood on the observation deck, watching the weapons fire streak across the darkness. Somewhere in that chaos, Kevin and Sophie were waiting. He whispered a promise to them. Hold on, my loves. Daddy is coming. 3 weeks after the rescue, Daniel Carter sat on his porch, watching Kevin and Sophie play in the backyard of their New Haven home. The colony had transformed since the children's return. New defense platforms orbited overhead. Marine detachments maintained permanent stations. Earth had made it clear that New Haven would never be vulnerable again. Margaret Carter brought out 2 cups of tea and sat beside her husband. How are they doing? She asked quietly. Daniel watched his children. Kevin was building something with blocks, while Sophie supervised. They looked normal. Happy even, but he knew the nightmares still came. Better, he said. The counselors say they are remarkably resilient. Kevin still has trouble sleeping. Sophie will not go anywhere without her light stick. But they are healing. And us? Margaret asked, are we healing? Daniel considered the question. I do not know, he admitted. Part of me is still on that flagship, hunting through the darkness. Part of me is still terrified we would not find them in time. Margaret took his hand. But we did find them, she said. They are home. They are safe. Yes, Daniel agreed. Because humanity burned a path through the galaxy to get them back on Earth. Admiral Gregory Hayes stood before a Senate committee. They were reviewing his actions during the rescue operation. Admiral, one senator said, your campaign resulted in the destruction of significant alien property. Multiple facilities were obliterated. Hundreds of non-human casualties. Some are calling it excessive force. Hayes met the senator's gaze steadily. Senator, with respect, I disagree, he said. Every action taken was necessary to recover 23 innocent children. Would you have preferred I negotiate while they remained in captivity? Would you have preferred I show restraint while slavers sold our children to the highest bidder? Another senator spoke up. Admiral, no one questions your success. The children are home, but we must consider the diplomatic implications. The Galactic Council has filed formal complaints. Several species are demanding reparations. Hayes leaned forward. Let me be clear about something. He said, I did not conduct that campaign to make friends in the galaxy. I did it to send a message. That message was received. Human trafficking in known space has dropped to nearly zero in the past 3 weeks. Criminal networks are dismantling their operations. Species that once ignored slavery are now passing strict laws against it. So yes, we made enemies, but we also saved countless future victims, and we proved that humanity will protect its own, no matter the cost. The committee chairman nodded slowly. Admiral Hayes, this committee finds that your actions, while extreme, were justified under the circumstances. You are hereby commended for your service. The children of Earth are safer because of what you did in the Galactic Council chambers. Ambassador Krell addressed the assembly 3 weeks ago. I told this council that the humans would not stop. He said, I was correct. They pursued the Verith across half the galaxy. They destroyed everything connected to the slave trade, and they recovered every single child. Now we must decide how to respond. A council member from the Zon Empire stood. We should impose sanctions. He declared, the humans violated dozens of treaties. They attacked sovereign facilities. A young Fenari representative, the same one who had spoken before, rose to her feet. Sovereign facilities engaged in slavery, she countered. Facilities that this council has ignored for decades. The humans did what we should have done long ago. I propose we do not condemn them. Instead, I propose we learn from them. The debate raged for hours finally. A compromise was reached. The council would formally censure humanity for the destruction of property. But they would also pass comprehensive anti-slavery legislation. The new laws had. Teeth species that engaged in trafficking would face immediate military intervention, not from humans, but from a coalition of council members. It was the strongest anti-slavery measure in galactic history. When the vote was complete, Krell approached the Fenari representative. You took a risk defending the humans, he said. Was it worth it? She smiled. My grandmother was sold as a slave when she was 7 years old. She replied. She spent 10 years in captivity before escaping. This council did nothing to help her. The humans spent 3 weeks and lost 47 lives to save children they did not even know. Yes, Ambassador Krell, it was worth it in the criminal underworld. The impact was even more dramatic. Pirates who had operated for decades suddenly found their markets. Close slavers went into hiding or changed professions entirely in a dark bar on the edge of known space. The old pirate veteran sat with younger crew members. I told you, he said. I told you not to provoke the humans. How are we supposed to know they would react like that? One of them asked. Any species with sense would know. The veteran replied, humans are pack animals. They form families, communities, nations, and they will sacrifice everything to protect their pack. That Zelker. He did not just steal children. He attacked the core of what makes humans who they are. What happens now? Another pirate asked. Now we spread the word. The veteran said, do not provoke the humans. Do not threaten their families. Do not give them reason to hunt you, because they will burn worlds to find you, and nothing in this galaxy can stop them when they do. The phrase became a mantra in criminal circles. Do not provoke the humans. They said, they will burn worlds to find you. 6 months after the rescue, Kevin Carter stood in front of his class at school. His teacher had asked him to talk about his experience. When we were taken, Kevin said, I was scared. We all were. But I remembered what my dad taught me. He said family protects family. So I tried to protect the other kids. And I knew. I absolutely knew that our families were coming for us. How did you know? The teacher asked gently. Because we are human. Kevin replied simply. And humans do not abandon each other. My dad crossed the galaxy to find me. Marines died protecting. U.S. people I never met risked everything because we needed help. That is what being human means. The teacher smiled. That is a beautiful lesson. Kevin, she said. Sophie, sitting in the front row, raised her hand. My brother was very brave, she announced. He told me stories every night so I would not be scared. And he was right about Dad coming. He's always right. Kevin blushed but smiled at his sister after school. Daniel picked them up. They drove home through the colony, past the new security installations. Dad, Kevin asked, are we safe now? Daniel looked at his son in the rearview mirror. Yes, he said. The galaxy knows what happens when someone threatens. Humans, no one will make that mistake again. But what if they do? Sophie asked. Daniel pulled the vehicle over and turned to face his children. Then we will do exactly what we did before. He said, we will find them. We will stop them. We will protect our own. That is the human way. That will always be the human way. That evening, Admiral Hayes sat in his office on Earth. He was reviewing reports from across the galaxy. Slavery incidents had dropped by 90%. Criminal organizations were disbanding. Species were implementing their own child protection laws. Captain Nicole Sherman entered with another report. Sir, the intelligence networks have confirmed something interesting, she said. What is it? The phrase "do not provoke the humans" has become common across multiple languages. Nicole explained. It appears in criminal codes, diplomatic briefings, even children's cautionary tales. We have become the boogeyman of the galaxy. Hayes considered this. Is that a bad thing? He asked. I do not think so, sir. Nicole replied. Fear can be a powerful deterrent, as long as we only use it against those who deserve it. Agreed. Hayes said he looked out his window at the Earth below. Billions of humans going about their lives. Most of them would never know the details of what happened in the reaches, but all of them would benefit from the lesson taught. You know what the irony is? Hayes said, we never wanted to be feared. We wanted to be respected, to be partners in the galactic community. But they took our children, and in defending them, we showed the galaxy who we really are. And who are we, sir? Nicole asked. Hayes smiled grimly. We are humanity, he said. We are peaceful until provoked. We are diplomatic until our families are threatened. We are reasonable until our children are taken. And when that line is crossed, we become unstoppable. The galaxy learned that lesson. Let us hope they remember it. Far across the galaxy, on a planet that had once hosted slave markets, a mother tucked her child into bed. Mama, the child asked, are the bad people gone? Yes, little one, the mother replied. The humans made sure of that. Who are the humans? The mother thought carefully about her answer. They are a species from a world called Earth, she said. They are kind and generous, but they are also fiercely protective. If you ever meet a human, treat them with respect, and never, ever threaten their children. Why? Because, the mother said, repeating the phrase she had heard a dozen times, they will burn worlds to find you. The child nodded solemnly and closed their eyes in the darkness between the stars. The message echoed. Humanity had drawn a line, and the galaxy would remember. The first Verith warship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The human fleet had not slowed down, had not hesitated, had not even attempted to negotiate further. They crashed into the Verith formation like a hammer striking. Glass Admiral Hayes stood calmly on the bridge of the Retribution, issuing orders with cold precision. Target their weapon systems first, he commanded. We need them disabled, not destroyed. If they cannot fight back, they cannot threaten the children. Lieutenant Peter Brooks coordinated the tactical assault with brutal efficiency. The human ships moved in coordinated patterns, overwhelming individual Verith vessels before they could effectively respond. Their shields are stronger than expected, Peter reported. Adjust firing patterns. Concentrate fire on their shield generators. 3 more Varith ships took critical damage in rapid succession. Their commanders had prepared for battle. But not for this level of ferocity. Humans were supposed to be traders and diplomats. These ships fought like demons on one of the Varith vessels. The captain frantically contacted Zelker. "We cannot hold them," he shouted. "They are tearing through our formation. You must execute the children now." The transmission cut off as his ship's power core was Brichedsker watched from his vessel. Docked inside the shipyard, fear gripped him for the first time in his long career. He had raided dozens of species. He had taken countless captives. Never had anyone responded like this. The humans were not trying to negotiate or rescue. They were trying to annihilate, prepare the ship for emergency departure. He ordered his crew. "But Captain, the modifications are not complete," his engineer protested. "I do not care," Zelker snarled. "Get us ready to leave or we all die here." Inside the cargo bay where the children were being held, Kevin Carter heard the explosions. He had been counting the sounds, trying to understand what was happening. 23 children huddled together in the cold metal room. Kevin had organized them by age, with the oldest on the outside protecting the younger ones. Sophie sat in the middle, still singing softly to a 3-year-old boy who would not stop crying. "Kevin, what is that noise?" asked a 10-year-old girl named Rachel Price. "I think it is a battle," Kevin replied. "Does that mean rescue?" Rachel asked hopefully. "Maybe," Kevin said. "Or maybe it is pirates fighting over us." He did not want to give false hope. Even though his heart was screaming that it had to be rescuing, it had to be his father coming for them. Sophie stopped singing and looked at her brother. "Is it Daddy?" She asked. Kevin wanted to say yes, but he was scared of being wrong. "I do not know, Sophie," he admitted. "But whoever it is, we need to be ready." "Ready for what?" "Ready to run if we get a chance," Kevin said. "When the door opens, no matter who it is, we stay together. We protect each other, just like Dad taught us outside." The battle intensified. The Varith were fighting desperately now. Realizing that surrender was not an option, the humans were offering. One Varith captain tried to ram his damaged ship into the Retribution. The human flagship's point defense systems tore the vessel apart. Before it could close the distance, Admiral Hayes watched dispassionately. "Status on Zelker's vessel?" he asked. "Still docked inside the shipyard," Nicole Sherman reported. "But we are detecting power fluctuations. They are trying to prep for launch." "Not on my watch," Hayes said. "Linda, are your teams ready?" On one of the assault ships, Linda Morrison checked her equipment. "Marines are ready, Admiral," she responded. "We are locked on the shipyard's docking bay. As soon as you give us an opening, we go in. You will have it in 90 seconds. Hayes promised. The Retribution and 2 other heavy cruisers focused their fire on the shipyard's defensive systems. The asteroid facility shook under the bombardments inside. Zelker felt the impacts. "Launch now," he screamed at his crew. "We are not ready. Launch or I kill you myself." The docking clamps released Ed's score. That ship began to pull away from the shipyard, but the damage from the earlier raid on New Haven had never been fully repaired. The engine sputtered and failed. The ship drifted helplessly, unable to achieve the speed needed to escape. "This is Admiral Hayes to Zelker's vessel," the human commander's voice echoed. "To every speaker, your ship is disabled. Your fleet is destroyed. You have nowhere to run. Release the children immediately and surrender. This is your last chance." Zelker looked at his crew. They stared back at him with fear and hatred. This was his fault. His greed had brought the wrath of humanity down upon them all. "Captain," his second officer said, "we should surrender." "Never." Zelker hissed. He pulled out a weapon and shot his second officer. The rest of the crew backed away in terror. "If I'm going to die," Zelker said, "I am taking those human brats with me." He ran toward the cargo bay, but he had forgotten that his ship's internal communications were still broadcasting. Linda Morrison heard every word. "Go, go, go," she shouted to her Marines. The assault shuttles launched from their carrier, racing toward Zelker's ship. They did not wait for the defenses to be fully cleared. They did not follow standard boarding procedures. They just went. One shuttle took a direct hit from a Koshu defensive turret and exploded. The other three kept going. They latched onto the hull of Zelker's ship. Cutting torches activated. Marines poured through the breaches. Zelker is heading for the cargo bay. Linda's voice crackled over their communications. "All teams, intercept course. Do not let him reach those children." Two Marines, Corporal Jake Palmer and Private Amy Foster, were closest to the cargo bay. They sprinted through the corridors, weapons ready ahead of them. They saw a Zelkor. The Verith captain was tall and fast. He reached the cargo bay door and began entering the access code. Jake raised his weapon and fired. The shot hit Zelker in the shoulder. The alien roared in pain but finished entering the code. The door began to open. Amy fired 3 more shots. Zelker stumbled but did not fall. He raised his own weapon toward the opening door inside the cargo bay. Kevin heard the gunfire. "Everyone get behind me," he shouted. The children scrambled into the corner. Kevin stood in front of them, his small body the only shield they had. The door open. A Zelker stood there, wounded and furious. He pointed his weapon at Kevin. "You," he snarled. "You humans have cost me everything." Kevin looked into the alien's black eyes. He was terrified, but he did not move. "My dad is coming," Kevin said, "and when he gets here, you are going to regret everything." Zelker laughed bitterly. "Your father is too late." He began to squeeze the trigger. A shot rang out, but it was not Zelker, who fired. Linda Morrison had appeared behind him. Her weapon was pressed against the back of his head. "Wrong," she said. "We are exactly on time." She pulled the trigger. Zelker collapsed. Linda stepped over his body and looked into the cargo bay. 23 pairs of eyes stared back at her. "United States Marines," she announced. "We are here to take you home." For a moment, no one moved. Then Sophie Carter started crying, then Rachel Price, then all of them. Kevin remained standing, trying to be brave. Linda walked up to him and knelt down. "You are Kevin Carter, right?" she asked gently. "Yes, ma'am," he whispered. "Your father is on the flagship." Linda said, "He has been looking for you every second since you were taken. He never stopped. None of us did." Kevin's resolve finally broke. He collapsed into Linda's arms. Sobbing, the other Marines entered the cargo bay. Amy Foster began checking the children for injuries. Jake Palmer contacted the Retribution. "Admiral Hayes, this is Alpha Team," he reported. "We have secured all 23 children. Repeat, all children are alive and accounted for on the bridge of the Retribution." The entire crew erupted in cheers. Daniel Carter felt his knees buckle. Nicole Sherman caught him. "They are safe," she said, tears in her own eyes. "Your children are safe." Hayes allowed himself a moment of relief. Then he returned to business. "Secure Zelker's vessel," he ordered. "Begin evacuation of the children to the medical frigate. And someone, find me every piece of data on that ship about the Verith slave network. This is not over yet." The evacuation proceeded smoothly. The children were transferred one by one to the medical frigate. Doctors examined them carefully. Most had minor injuries and were malnourished, but all would recover. Kevin and Sophie were among the last to be transferred as their shuttle approached the Retribution. Daniel Carter stood in the landing bay. He could barely breathe. The shuttle doors opened. Linda Morrison emerged first. Carrying Sophie, Kevin walked beside her. Holding her hand, Daniel ran to them. He scooped both children into his arms, holding them so tight they could barely breathe. "Dad," Kevin sobbed, "I knew you would come. I knew it. Always." Daniel whispered, "I will always come for you. Always." Sophie clung to his neck, her small body shaking with tears. "I want to go home, Daddy," she cried. "We're going home." "Baby," Daniel promised. "Right now, we're going home." Around them, other children were being reunited with their families' parents, who had joined the fleet, wept with joy. Those whose parents remained on New Haven were being comforted by crew members. Admiral Hayes watched from the observation deck, all children accounted for and safe. Nicole reported, "Casualty report. 47 personnel killed in action." Nicole said quietly, "Another 112 wounded. 3 ships severely damaged." Hayes nodded slowly. Price had been high, but not as high as abandoning those children would have been. "Prepare the fleet for return to Earth," he ordered, "and open a channel on all frequencies. I want to address the galaxy." Minutes later, Hayes' message broadcast across known space. "This is Admiral Gregory Hayes of the United Earth Defense Fleet. We have recovered our children. We have destroyed those who took humanity's innocent